right. Well, let's get to barreling on. Number one comes from a listener, and it says PooPourri or any related toilet sprays in the bathroom where you have guests. I say barrel, let your guests hide their stench with dignity. Cheers, Paggy from Pacifica.
It's a real tough one, and I'm going to say it's a barrel too. I don't do it, but I appreciated my grandma having the Glade spray aerosol spray can in her bathroom. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm going to say it's a barrel. I'm going to say it's probably awful for the environment in every way, shape, and form. It's excess plastic and chemical and junk, but it's the dignified thing to do.
This is a real interesting dilemma that has plagued humanity since day zero. It is the foul smell of excrement and now living in tight quarters with a bathroom next to a dinner party, let's say.
Hmm.
And it's like, it's an awkward situation for everybody. Nobody wants to be the perpetrator, but also nobody wants to be in the party where somebody blew up the bathroom, right? And so, how do you deal with it? And so, something like PooPourri is a great invention, by the way. Like from my youth, it is what you were talking about with this aerosol thing that actually smells somehow worse when mixed with poop than the poop smelled by
It
itself.
does, but it's somehow like the smell becomes worse in itself, but it is no longer attached directly to the person. It is a bad smell
True,
that you like remove from you.
true. That's a good point. But PooPourri, specifically this brand of product,
Is there a brand one called PooPourri?
Poo Dash Pourri is the brand name.
Wow, is it like actually potpourri in
No,
like
it's a
the
spray. It's a spray bottle.
okay.
But what the kind of unique thing about their product is you use it before you go. So if you spray PooPourri onto the water of the toilet and you poop into that water, it almost creates a blockade of the stench.
But I mean, how toxic does that have to be? Like the chemical that's doing that, that's holding the stink in, has to be one of the most toxic things on earth.
It's a great point. This particular product, I think, is more, I think they advertise it as more natural. Like it isn't, it's not like an inert gas that is heavier than the scent
Yeah.
that is blocking everything in that you just accidentally vacuumed up your beehole. This is like a more natural scent that does a good job at covering it up.
Okay. I mean, in any whatever it is, even with wrecking the earth, I'm still a fan.
All
Like
right. Yeah. I mean, it
because
solves the problem that has plagued humanity.
and like there is some dignity. It's a small amount of dignity, but at least there's some dignity to walking out of a bathroom that reeks like chemical perfume rather than just walking out in your own stench.
I mean, I feel like if I'm buying a house, I'm going to consider this. Like, where is the bathroom's location adjacent to the dining room? And is there a window? Or at the bare minimum, a fan that you can
Yes,
kind of eliminate? Because if it's going to hold the entire room hostage, can't buy this house. It could be the perfect house in every other way. We cannot buy this house, or we need to knock out a wall and build a window.
that's true. I mean, and thankfully, mercifully, the guest bathroom in this home is like far enough away from anything where we don't need even like washing your hands will probably the scent of the soap will be enough unless somebody's running right in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm all about
Well,
dignity.
Well, I have a solution that I would like for to share with everybody. Consider this a tool to live by. A basic lighting of a match
Yeah.
eliminates so much stench and doesn't combine with the stench in the way that the aerosol spray does. Like it eats up the stench and leaves it its own stench, which is the stench of a lit match, which is not unpleasant.
It's fine. Uh, also, uh, I mean, the host of the party could solve a lot of problems by lighting a candle already pre-lit in the bathroom before the party gets started.
Agreed.
With
And
the book of matches there, so in case somebody wants to spark it again,
exactly.
have at it. But then people there we know like, oh, there's just a candle. It's all dignified.
At some point, long lighters became ubiquitous.
Yeah, no.
Get get rid of that. for the bathroom specifically, leave a box of matches, light the candle in advance, but leave the matches available for anybody to help cover up their own stench.
Perfect.
My wife, this is also a little pro tip, brings candles in her suitcase anywhere we go. So if we're in a hotel room, we'll get there, she'll light a candle. Airbnb that we're in right now, candles lit everywhere. So
What flavor of candle?
just always different, like she'll just get candles wherever she's at, Trader Joe's or, you know, anywhere. Anthropology is like our favorite, but I think those are crazy expensive.
A
So
candle
those are a
is a
special
candle.
occasion.
A candle is such a luxury though. Like they're
It
fun to
is.
look at. They smell nice. They are, yeah, candle.
I have a constant battle that I do though, because she'll put it in a location where I'm like, Austin can reach that. And
Yeah.
out of curiosity, he would. And I'm not worried he's going to burn the house down. I'm worried he's going to pour hot wax on his face as it's
Yeah.
coming off of the counter. So I appreciate her work with the candles. And then I run around pushing them away from the counter's edge.
Okay, good.
So
Teamwork.
yeah, exactly. But bring a candle. It's a nice little luxury. Barrel or not? Ice in urinals.
Oh, I'm gonna say total barrel. It's like anytime I walk into a urinal and I see it, and like this happens enough, but not all the time. I'm assuming here the ice is in the urinal because there's an excess amount of ice. I've always assumed, I've never researched this, but I'm assuming there's an excess amount of ice somewhere and they throw it in the urinal to get rid of it. Am I wrong? They're not putting it in there to like dampen splash or something. There's no other reason for ice in the urinal other than to get rid of ice. Am I wrong?
When I die, the first question I'm going to ask my maker is who invented the ice in the urinal and what was the reason?
It's
Because
got to be that.
I don't know. I don't care who shot JFK. I don't care about all these other. I want to know this answer because it is such a joy for me to see when I go into a bathroom. I'm like, this now becomes a fun game. It does dampen the splash more effectively than any other little thing that they put in there. Otherwise, in every other scenario, I get splashback somehow. But the ice scenario, I don't get splashback, and it's a fun game.
It is so much fun to see how much ice you can melt. It is like it turns the toilet time into a party.
Who invented this and why?
I'm assuming, and dear listener, chime in. I've got to believe it's only to they like melt ice. It's excess ice in the restaurant because you don't see this at places like I don't know. It's not like at the Ritz-Carlton. If it was a fancy thing, so it's not a fancy thing.
You know where
It's
I see it. I you're right, it's not a fancy thing across the board, but I see it at expensive steakhouses.
But I also see it though at truck stop toilets.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't go to truck stop toilets very often, I
Oh
guess.
yeah, start driving in Nashville, Tennessee.
Right. Well, I just don't know anybody who has a surplus of ice. That's my only question with your thing is if you're a restaurant and you have an ice machine, it stops making ice when it's full.
Yeah, I
It's
know. I
not like
mean,
you need to dispatch ice.
okay, but what if you got a shipment? This is what I'm thinking. You get a shipment of beef and it's all on ice, and you got all this beef ice now. That's what it's not your drinking ice, it's the beef ice is going into the urinal.
But again, who was the genius who thought rather than throwing this out back in the parking lot where it'll melt quickly or in the grass or a plant where it'll do good, put it in a urinal to make a fun game?
Yeah, it's genius. It really is. I am overjoyed. You feel like you won a little lottery when you go into a bathroom and see it nice and full of ice.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Strange that would even be pleasurable, but for some reason, one of
it's the
life's great
most.
pleasures.
It's
Yeah.
so the most
If you really want to make a splash with your restaurant, get some good Yelp reviews,
ice.
ice in the toilet, nobody would ever tell that to you. They're going to tell you to invest your money in these other things, lighting or something.
Yep.
Ice in the toilet will do more good.
If I had a restaurant and I mean, I would put ice in the toilet, and that would be my whole restaurant tagline. It would be Charlie's. We put ice in the toilet.
Very good. I can see it's your $1 million idea right there.
Yep.
All right. Final barrel or not also comes from a listener and harkens back to a previous turn of phrase, which is lady friend.
Hey, David here. in Southern California. Just calling in to the grit to say what up to David and Chaz. I have a barrel or nah potential here. I just saw it at my local break the other day. A gentleman had his front seat pushed down in his car and slid his boards in, and he had his lady friend in the back seat riding that way. Nobody in the front seat, just the boards, woman in the back seat. And it made me think of y'all right away. And just to get maybe back to the search-centric barrel or Nas. Love the show lately. Everything's been amazing. Love listening. Even new show as well. Period. And yeah, that's it. My last thing is, do bald surfers hate long-haired surfers? Just to leave you with that. And yeah, everything. Love it. Later, you guys have a great weekend, and everybody else, get some waves.
Yes, absolutely. Bald surfers hate long-haired surfers.
For sure. I think bald surfers are quietly rage-filled a lot. The fact that even I think they hate surfers with hair. I think that not even long hair. I think they're out there perpetually worried about their scalp and the sun and all of it and fighting the fight of either sunscreening it up or wearing a surf hat or just this. I can't even imagine the battle that would be, like the extra amount of thinking that would go in. And so then I think they quietly despise anyone who doesn't have to do that extra amount of thinking.
So I think they dismay surfers with length of hair like yours or mine. There's like a little bit of like jealousy maybe, but I think the word hate is reserved for long-haired people. I think they're like looking at somebody with extra long hair thinking, what do you think you're Fabio or something? Like
Yeah,
what? You just go over the top? That is the iced out Rolex. You just went way too far. You don't need all that hair.
that's
So,
true. That's true. You're right. You're exactly right. They don't hate you, right? They're dismayed. They would prefer
but they have
us.
ire for
Yeah,
the long
for the
hair.
long hair. It's so true. It is so true.
Rightfully so, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know what those long-haired hippies are thinking. But back to the real question here, which is hilarious to me, making your lady friends sit in the back so that your surfboards have access to the front.
I'm gonna say if you hate your lady friend, like if you're trying to break up, this would be a great way to do it. This would be a great, like subtle or not so subtle at all hint that this relationship is going south. But if you love your lady friend, then absolutely not. I was trying to think of if you can put that seat down, that means you have a gap in between. If you have a gap in between, that means you can put one of the back seats down or both back seats and get your board through the gap. There's no need for there is no car in existence unless that's a bench seat, I suppose, where the part folds down. If it's a bench seat, but even then, like yeah, there's really no excuse for that.
Look, he's thinking for some reason this needs to be on a diagonal. So it's going from the back left of the trunk to the front right of the car. So it's a board length maybe that is just long enough to where it couldn't go right down the middle and shoot the gap because even if you have three boards, you should be able to lay down the back seats and it can go in between the two front seats
Yes.
up on its side, right? And that
Yes.
that gives you, depending on the car, let's say 8 feet of clearance. Maybe he's right now he has a 9.0 and the 9.0 would hit the dashboard. So he has to go on a diagonal. That's the only scenario where this works. Even still, cold. It's a cold move to make your woman sit in the behind you. I'm also impressed that the woman's at the beach in the first place, like, or the lady friend, I should say. Like, if you're in a relate, I don't know. My time to go to the beach, my wife wants nothing to do with it. There's no version of it where I'm asking her to give up her seat for that specific board. If I knew she was coming and there was a space limitation, I would ride a different board. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like the commitment in this relationship, and I mean the commitment to his surfboards in this relationship is bizarre to me. It's a
I re
weird one.
I really like it though. But yeah, it is I appreciate that dude. I appreciated him going there, especially if he loves his lady friend, that's even better. If you're like, yeah, I love her, but what am I gonna do? Like, sorry, is impressive.
The only way you get away with this is to wear a chauffeur's cap and to
That's
treat her
true.
like she is a VIP.
Open the door, milady. You could call her
Ex-
milady friend.
Exactly. Be like, look, I'm sorry you have to sit in the back, but I put some snacks back there.
Yep.
I'm going to drive you through whatever drive through you want to go through. You
I
can
put
order
a
whatever
bottle
you
of
want.
Fiji,
Exactly.
a nice mini bottle of Fiji.
Exactly. Other than that, I'm going no barrel for lady
Yeah.
friend in the back.
Yep.